Redick, 0 points. Sixers lose. Simple as that. They're not deep enough to beat this Raptors team. If they have any chance in the series, they must win Game 2.
No, they're not. It's not about winning Game 2 because they're the road team. If the first 2 games were in Philadelphia, it would be a must-win situation. Really, it's about protecting your home court and pushing it to a Game 7 if that's what this comes down to. Let me be very, very clear. I have the Toronto Raptors winning this series. Here's the difference between my opinion before the series and my opinion after watching Game 1.
Okay.
I don't give the Sixers much of a chance. I'm scared they might get swept. I mean, when you look at, when I'm watching the Toronto Raptors, and I'm not predicting they're going to get swept because they got too much heart, and I think they could dig it in. And there have been too many occasions this year when I've seen Toronto nosedive for a particular game, only to resurrect themselves. So I could see the Sixers winning a game and losing in 5. But I don't give them much of a chance in this series. Here's why. Embiid's health is questionable. There's absolutely nobody to stop Kawhi, who's hit all 5 of his shots when Tobias Harris was guarding him. I think he hit like 5 or 6 shots when Jimmy Butler was guarding him. You got Joel Embiid, who's not healthy. Ben Simmons does the better job of defending him, and that's not to say it's a good job. It's just better than what Harris or Butler did, even though Butler tries and wants the matchup as opposed to what others might want. You got Gasol, and like you said, Ibaka defending because
they
Joel
shut
Embiid,
down Embiid.
he couldn't back him down in the post.
Knee,
he couldn't back him down. If you got a bad knee and you're going up against Marc Gasol, you're trying to back that massive dude down, ain't gonna work. That's just meat potatoes right there. You know, if you didn't know anybody, you wouldn't have thought he was from Spain. You would have thought he's someplace in the country eating meat potatoes all day long. He's a big boy
and a real good defender.
And then not only that. This kid, Siakam, I don't think there's a discussion as to who the most improved player is. When you consider where he was last year to where he is right now, it's night and day. 29 points, 12 of 15 shooting, 80% from the field. This guy, listen, man, they've got length, they've got athleticism, they have depth, they have perimeter shooting, and they have experienced defenders. And if you're the Philadelphia 76ers, devoid of depth, and your best player is hobbled, I mean, it's one of those things like I don't think it's about this game because you go back to Philadelphia, you win 2 and it's tied, and you got yourself a series. I think that to me, Game 3 is the must win as opposed to Game 2. But listen. I'd be proud of the Sixers. They win a game in this series.
I want to get back to Kawhi for a second because, as I said, now is when I really start paying attention in terms of the clutch players.
Oh, by the way, can I say this?
Yeah.
Kawhi Leonard against the Sixers, 14-0 in his career. 4-0 since he's arrived in Toronto.
That's one of those you got to beat that.
14-0.
Here's the thing about Kawhi. I start paying attention second round. Let me see, unless there's some crazy first round matchup, usually there's not. Of the elite players, who's the best in the world? Like every year, LeBron James goes in. Oh, is LeBron slipping? And that's why the baton is laid down now. No playoffs for LeBron to prove it. Then LeBron goes out and like averages like a triple-double with 50 points a game, and you're like, oh, it's still LeBron. You can't show that now. So who is it? You mentioned KD balled out. Kyrie balled out. Kawhi Leonard is a former Finals MVP. Finals MVP. Not on some totally stacked team that no one could beat like KD. On a team where he had to defend LeBron and hit shots. The former Finals MVP who Masai Ujiri brought in to be the best player on a championship team. Drops 45 and plays defense, and you talk about Stephen A. They don't have anyone who can defend him.
Well, we look differently. We look at that San Antonio team that he was playing
great.
with.
It was a great team.
And not only that.
But not the Warriors.
Well, yeah, but the point is the chemistry and
I don't want to get, I hear you. I don't want to get sidetracked on that. Kawhi Leonard, you mentioned they don't have anyone to defend him, the Sixers. Jimmy Butler, by reputation, is an elite defender. Can't do anything with Kawhi.
Can't do anything.
He's a little smaller, I get it, still can't do anything with Kawhi. Ben Simmons is, if he's not an elite defender, he's the next thing to it. He did a better job, but really couldn't stop him. Who exactly is this mystery man in the NBA who's going to do a great job on that Kawhi Leonard? I don't think you can stop that Kawhi Leonard one-on-one. You can't sick a defender on him and be like, well, he'll stop Kawhi. It's the old, you only hope to contain him. That's how Kawhi was playing offense. If Kawhi's playing offense like that, it's a wrap.
Yeah, but the Sixers are not an elite defensive team, and that's the key to that as well. They're good, but they're not an elite defensive team. And when you're going up against elite defensive teams, not to say that we question Kawhi's greatness because we know what he brings to the table, but there's levels to this. And when you're comparing Kawhi Leonard, he's in the conversation as the best in the world, but he's not my choice, which is what we'll get into later.
Yeah, if they go down 0-2, we all agreed they're not turning around, winning 4 out of 5. But Stephen A., who needs to step up the most on the Philly side to get this done?
On the Philadelphia 76ers side, well, listen, it's not one person. But if I had to pick one above all else, it would be Ben Simmons. And the reason why it's going to be Ben Simmons is because he's got to elevate his level of play defensively because he's the only hope towards stopping Kawhi. But he's also got to make things happen for everybody else. He's got to notice that Embiid's not 100%, and you got to position. You know, I could make the argument it ain't even a player. It's Brett Brown. You got to figure out something.
I agree
in terms of how to use Joel Embiid. Let me tell you something right now. I like Brett Brown, such a great guy, and has done a good job over the last couple of years with the Sixers. But I'm telling you, the Sixers are taking a hard look at that situation because with the talent that they have, although they lack depth, there are expectations, man, and you're looking at him and how they're going to be utilized. It's one thing to lose this series, but let's say, for example, you lose in 4 or 5. They're going to look at Brett Brown there.
I think
Brown.
Even if they win in 5, or if they lose in 5 or 6, I think he's.
They didn't tank for no reason.
The answer, I can't even say Embiid because he has a bad knee. It's good. The optics will be bad because he got dominated by Horford last year, or outplayed by Horford, and the other team won. And if Gasol does this kind of job on defense, but we all know Embiid, it's his health. That's why he went 3rd in the draft. He has health issues. So I'm looking at J.J. Redick, the guy. I know it's like, well, he's a complimentary piece, blah, blah. He's one of the starting 5. He's there to hit shots. I don't say this about all players. You got to hit shots. Some players can make up for it on the defensive end and all this. I say it about Harden because he's the heart and soul of their offense. J.J. Redick is not there to play defense, that's for sure. When he is not hitting any shots in the first half of a game, you won't win the game.
You said the first half because I'm saying overall 6 of 13 from the field, 5 of 12 from three-point.
He got hotter in the second half.
Not awful or whatever. You expect more from him. They were -6 with him on the floor. But my guy is Ben Simmons because I know how important and pivotal he is to everything. He makes everybody better when he's on his game.